Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm going to be reviewing a film titled Up. Of course, I'm doing this for my Disney movie marathon. This one was produced by Pixar as well, when they teamed up pretty much. So, I figured I would do this because, well, I want to review an animated feature this time. Uh, a CGI one specifically. But of course, as usual, I do have to talk about the plot of this particular animated feature. So let's begin, shall we? Oh yeah, Focuses on the adventures of this older gentleman and his friend, who happens to be this young boy. They pretty much go on this adventure. Oh no, boy, what an adventure it is, folks. So yeah, they pretty much have to embark on this journey, so to speak, to go to this area because let's just say he made a promise to a loved one he once had in the past. So yeah, that's the thing, folks. He pretty much still stubbornly lives in this particular house, which he does not want to give up. And he does have a hero in this particular movie, folks. And this hero of his is someone he really wants to meet up one of these days, because he actually met this person when he was much younger. So yeah, we get to see a quick beginning part of the film where it takes place in 1940. We see our main character to be a 9-year-old boy who idolizes this famous explorer at the time, and this famous explorer has been accused of something, so to speak, this particular bird, have been stolen. And this bird will play in a part of the movie as well, so that makes things pretty cool if you ask me. So yeah, our main character on this little friend of his pretty much goes on this adventure because he really wants to make good on his promise. And of course, he perfectly ties in what he wants to meet up with his hero, whom he been pretty much worshipping. Okay, maybe worshipping is not the right word, but analyzing, since this family movie was released in May 29th, 2009, and opened in this film festival, becoming the first animated film in 3D to do so, folks. The film became a giant financial success in its theatrical release. And also, I would say that the film Up also reviews universal acclaim, with most movie reviewers giving a good thing and some praising about its sense of humor. And of course, this film does have a sense of humor. And they also said this film has heart, which of course it also does. They also praised the actor who played the lead character, Coward, and they actually thought he did a good voiceover for the character, which he actually does. And they liked the little backstory that he had with his loved one. That was really touching, of course. It gives you a sense of the character. I mean, okay, over time, maybe he did become a little bit grumpy, sure. But he really loved this woman, who unfortunately at the time just passed away. So yeah, it really tells you about this kind of thing going on. So yeah, of course he never remarried afterwards, folks. He really didn't. So he pretty much felt that this was his true and only love. So I guess that would make sense overall. I did like this film, the way it was constructed, folks. Yeah, this part was only about, what, 8 minutes, roughly, folks, but I still liked it. It has a better love story than any of the Twilight movies and books. Oh yeah, those movies are awful. I still don't understand as to why they became so popular. Seriously. Anyway, folks, this movie is definitely worth your time. I like the way that the characters are portrayed in here, and I would say is something you should check out if you have not seen it as of yet. So overall, folks, this film was actually one of those films that's actually worth your time. Yes, sirree. And I did like the fact that this film does have a good story. Just because it's a family movie doesn't necessarily mean it has to have a bad story. Yes, I know it's a kid's film, but that should be no excuse to give it a bad story. The characters are well constructed. They actually come off three-dimensional, and I'm not just talking about the animation itself. So yeah, folks, even the animation is top notch. I did like the fact that it was very detailed in the backgrounds and in the foregrounds as well. So the animation itself is very fluent overall. So yeah, it didn't come off choppy or anything, which of course is definitely a good thing. So it's one of those movies I would say is worth watching, folks, because of the fact that overall it's a really solid film. So yeah, this is coming from somebody that that doesn't really watch family movies all that often, really, folks. But fortunately, this is one of those good movies that can actually be viewed by anybody. I mean, yeah, anybody can watch it, even the adults, really, folks. But yeah, even though the intention was for the family, really. But it's a good film, folks. I'll say check it out if you have not seen it as of yet. Up is one of those movies that I wouldn't mind watching because of the fact they actually had some passion for this particular movie. They actually showed they cared. So yeah, it's one of those films that's not sloppy put together, actually. So I really appreciated that. I'll be definitely watching this film once again one of these days. Oh yeah. Yeah, this one wasn't too bad, folks. I quite enjoyed it. So yeah, I really wanted to review this one because I wanted to review a good Disney movie. And so yeah, I noticed for this Disney I thought I've been reviewing nothing but bad movies. So I figured maybe for a change of pace, I'll review a good one. Yeah, it's on my list of reviews to do, so I figured might as well review it. So this one wasn't a total delightful film, especially in the beginning of the film where the main character, had fell in love with this one woman. Yeah, they met in childhood, and it shows that in about 8 minutes of the first part of the film, it shows them, young, they're getting older, and this girl they falls in love with becomes this woman, and they realize she's unable to give birth. Yeah, she doesn't have. I mean, she's unable. I mean, it's not because of him. That's for sure. It's not because of him. It's her herself, her body. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, she comes off like one of those people, one of those women that's always cheerful, that's always on an adventure, that loves traveling. So yeah, she's one of those upbeat people. So when this kind of thing happens to someone like her, it's really sad. And of course, this will have an effect in the overall story, which of course makes sense because what is what is being affected here because we have an effect later on. This causing the whole film to develop. What I'm saying here is that it has a good story. And I know a lot of people out there don't want to watch a CGI animated film. I know a lot of the older Disney fans that grew up with the hand-drawn animated films don't want to watch the CGI stuff just because it's CGI and they grew up with the old stuff. I'll tell you this, don't be so biased. That's what I'm telling you, don't be biased. Some of these CGI films are actually not that bad. Like for this one, for example. And just because they changed up the animation doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a bad thing. No. Um, and besides, recently they made that film Princess and the Frog. Princess and the Frog was done in the traditional hand-drawn animation, and that was decent at best, I guess. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it was okay. Eh. But this one was definitely more enjoyable. I'll tell you that. It has a more real constructed story. The characters more developed. And the music is actually quite more memorable. I mean, they don't burst out singing or anything like the typical Disney thing they would do. But still, the music that they used was pretty good. Really, there's a ton of laughs, folks. There's a good sense of humor. In a lot of ways, it can be a tragedy, so to speak, especially considering the fact that he lost a loved one. Yeah, but it's a film that centers around characters you can actually like. So yeah, the film does provide a lot of good sense of humor, and yes, it's an adventurous story. But Disney is known for a sense of adventure anyway, so that's fine. So this is another good example of how a story can be good, even if the target audience is for kids. I did like the colors. The colors and detail in this particular movie are really good, and I did like the artwork that was done for this, folks. Yeah, the overall artwork is really stunning, folks. Oh yeah. So yeah, you can actually pause the frame and admire the scenery. Oh boy. So yeah, I did like the really sharp close-ups of the old man's face and the overall scenery, and especially the scenery in the jungle scenes. It was really highly done, really well, folks. Oh yeah, so yeah, getting this on Blu-ray in high definition disc is definitely worth every penny. Oh yeah. So yeah, folks, I can say that the story does have a combination of fantasy, adventure, suspense in its own little way, and of course with bits of comedy here and there. It's not overly done, folks. That's a good thing. The comedy elements of this is not overly done. It doesn't take you out of the moment. So yeah, just because it's a family movie doesn't mean you have to overdo it. So that's a good thing there, folks. And I did like how they balance everything. Not everything came off forced or contrived or anything, folks. So yeah. So I would say anybody of any age can actually watch this film, folks. So yeah, I was lucky enough to actually see this film. I wanted to watch this film and give it a shot, folks, because it was overall really good. It's, the action scenes are really well done, folks. There's a lot of heart, like I said before. The comedy scenes are actually hilarious. And I did like the sound effects. These sound effects were really nicely done, folks. I did like the sound that was made for this film, folks, because nothing came off offbeat or anything. And the visual effects are really nicely done, folks. So I did like this film and the way it was constructed, folks, because it was really nicely done, folks. So yeah, it's one of those films that has a good story, along with amazing visual effects here, folks. Yes, indeed. So yeah, I would say that it's definitely one of those films that's worth watching, folks. I know it may not be for everybody because I know a lot of people out there would want to dismiss this movie just just because of the fact that it's a Disney film. Which, if you ask me, is really biased, folks. Just give this film a chance anyway because it's a really good film as a whole. The character designs came out really good. I did like the character designs. I think again nothing came out forced, so that's definitely a good thing right there. Yes, sorry, folks. And I did like how this overall film is constructed. So yeah, folks, I did like this film as a whole. It's one of the better family movies I've seen over the years. This is gonna be, of course, a spoiler-free movie review, so I'm not gonna give anything away. Not getting into anything too specific anyway. So I'll say check it out. Up definitely gets a recommendation for me, folks. If you have not seen this one, I said check it out. It's also available both on Blu-ray and regular DVD. Or you could just take out those combo packs that have the Blu-ray, uh, the DVD, or the digital download. So there's your options there. I'll say it's definitely worth the watch. It's one of the better Disney films that came out throughout the years, folks, and I liked it. So it's one of those films I won't mind watching over and over again, which I've seen quite a few times already, and that's a good thing. Oh yeah. So yeah, folks, I would say it's one of those movies that that's actually good. I know when it comes to family movies, I tend to avoid family movies like the plague. But in this case, I'm glad I gave this film a chance because it ain't that bad. No sorry. The way this film is produced is really nicely done. I like the way it was edited. It's really good. It didn't come off choppy or anything. I like the camera angles they used. The camera angles was nicely done. You can actually tell that this film was produced by professionals, not a bunch of amateurs, is what I'm saying. The dialogue is well written, and pretty much everything about this film is really well constructed, really well produced. Up gets an overall rating of an 8.6 out of 10. It gets an 8.6 out of 10 for me. And as always, thanks for watching, and take care. See ya. Oh yeah.